How's it going, YouTube? Oxy here, and welcome back. So, today's the day. I can't believe I got to see it as soon as I did, but what am I talking about? That is, of course, Spider-Man No Way Home. And yeah, as of release of this video, I got to see it the day before, and very hyped, very excited. I mean, admittedly, I was a huge fan of the Sam Raimi trilogy, Tobey Maguire, grew up on them, and of course ties in now that, horror fan, Sam Raimi directed, made Evil Dead, so it all ties back, and he will be directing the new Doctor Strange, so I'm all for it, and hey, can't wait for that Bruce Campbell cameo, right? But yeah, got to see it, and I'm not going to get into major spoilers. I don't want to do that. Look, I guess here, just to give it to you straight, it's definitely worth the watch. Fantastic film. I loved it. And this is coming from someone that admittedly got tired of MCU movies. Like, to be honest with you, the last one I remember seeing, or last one I remember coming out, and I didn't see it, was Ant-Man and the Wasp. So yeah, I haven't even seen like Endgame. Things like that. I know what happens, but you get the idea. Like, I just really got burnt out of their films. I'll be honest that I always felt that they were kind of mediocre in the sense that they follow the same formula, most of them. There are exceptions, like Winter Soldier. You get the idea. Most of them just do the same thing over and over again. They're like action comedies, and a lot of the comedic timing doesn't land for me. But this one was charming. Again, it helps that they're bringing back some, the nostalgia, right? They're bringing back, like, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. And look, I know you might be like, spoilers, come on. I think everybody, it was the worst kept secret. Everyone and their mother knew all the Spider-Men were here, and they are. So, yeah, it was great, and the plot is pretty much as the trailer. Spider-Man wants people to forget who he is, Tom Holland, and, of course, the spell goes wrong, and it starts pulling, the villains from the other universes, and, of course, they have to deal with it, take care of it. That's pretty much it. Again, I don't want to go into specifics. I genuinely think you should watch it, and it would be a much better experience than me just telling you. But yeah, I mean, things I loved, like, I was genuinely surprised they were able to bring back, like, all the actors. I mean, again, if you've seen the trailer, you know who the villains are. So I'm gonna list them here, so if you haven't, go watch the movie or the trailer and then come back. So, of course, we saw Doc Ock, played by Alfred Molina again. That was awesome to see. Green Goblin with the GOAT, William Dafoe. That was the one that I was most, like, when he appeared on screen, like, confirming it, I was like, oh, man. You had Sandman, don't know the actor's name, sorry. He comes back. And then from the Amazing Spider-Man, of course, you have Electro, Jamie Foxx, He, I'll admit, is one of the funnier characters. Like, he definitely, his timing is great. I actually love them. And then, of course, the Lizard again. Don't know this actor either, but he comes back as well. I didn't see The Amazing Spider-Man, so, admittedly, Andrew Garfield and all that, I wasn't too familiar with. Not that I hate it or anything. Again, just haven't seen him. Don't have an opinion on him. But yeah, it was really great. It was really awesome to see the three of them together, battling it out. And they're, like, banter. Like, seriously, some of the funniest scenes are just the three of them together, and like for, just for an example, the newer Spider-Man, Holland and Garfield, they shoot their webs are not organic, right? Like, they have web shooters, they have to make them. And of course, Toby, the king, the OG, he's organic, so it just comes out of him. And there's a funny scene where they're all talking about that, like, how does your body make that? And, like, it's pretty funny. It's, like, genuine, like, of course, they're all within the multiverse. It's the same person, right? They're all Peter Parkers. But it's cool to see their dynamics, and they have some really great scenes where they definitely play to their strengths, or here, I'll just say experiences where, like, because of what has happened to some of them, they know what to do when the time comes. I'll leave it at that. You know, you'll probably be able to figure out when you see it. And yeah, and I guess another thing I can mention too is that, so those, you know, those 5 villains, we'll call them, are the 5 in the film. And yeah, it's like, here, again, I gotta be careful how I say it, but let's just say not all of them are what they seem, or evil as you would, you know, as it would be. Of course, if you're familiar with the other franchises, you know, the original trilogy or the Amazing, there's a lot of callbacks, so it helps if you're familiar with them. Like, you know, there's conversations that the characters have with each other that you're like, oh, you know, where obviously they're like, you're not Peter Parker, and they'll say other things that tie back, or like, yeah, I know that guy, and like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's cool to see characters from, like, you know, like the original and the Amazing crossover, and they'll like talk to each other. But yeah, funny enough, no, you hear me mentioning those 2, but yeah, again, be warned what I'm about to say. You know, you've been warned. But yeah, there's no like MCU villains in this, which I was surprised. I was like, oh, maybe they'll, you know, have like Venom. And like, yeah, I thought it would have been cool to see like all 3 interacting. You know, would have been cool, especially Toby, where he fought the symbiote, and you know, it'd be a cool scene if they see the new Tom Hardy Venom and they're like, whoa, you know, that like this one's scary or something like that. But it didn't happen. So for those hoping that Venom was in the film, you know, sorry, he wasn't. I'll just leave it at that. If you know MCU films, think you get what I'm getting at, that you don't leave during the credits, and yeah. So, and negatives, I mean, there weren't many. I mean, again, it's an MCU film, so if you were like me in the past, where you find them just kind of like the same, you know, they all blend, like it's the same formula, admittedly, you're not gonna like it. Like here, if you were someone who, let's say, you know, you're younger, or you just never saw the original trilogy, the Amazing Spider-Man, you know, the 2 films, and you're just jumping into this blind, and yeah, that I gotta be honest, like, you're probably not gonna be too into it, and that's, you know, keeping it real. Me, like I said, the formula, yeah, it was definitely there, so there were things that I was like, yeah, that didn't work, you know, like, internally. But as you know, nostalgia is a thing. Seeing Toby on the big screen again and them working together, like, it was really awesome. And for that alone, it definitely was worth the ticket, you know. And yeah, so if I had to say 1 through 10, it's hard, you know. It's hard to give a true answer, because again, it's like me, I was a fan, you know, I was a fan of Spider-Man the character. Like, I love the animated series in the 90s. Like, you know, I've been a fan of the character. So, if you're someone who's familiar with the lore, and again, it helps when, like, you've seen the other films, because they do reference them, they talk about them, so there are things that'll go over your head if you haven't. If you're a fan, this is definitely like a solid like 9 out of 10. Won't say 10. You know, no film is perfect. At least I would think. And if you're not a fan, and as I said, you're someone who like kind of burnt out at superhero movies, this is probably like a solid 7 for you. You know, in that aspect of like, you'll enjoy maybe, or you might get enjoyment of hearing everyone else in the theater like, oh, it's him. Like, you know, there's a lot of excitement, like engagement with the film. And I think that helps a lot. That helps like the mood, you know, because if everyone was like dead silent, yeah, it wouldn't be as impactful. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. I know I kept it very vague, but again, this is a film I truly think you should go see before you're on here watching reviews. and I don't give away too much because, yeah, it's much better on the big screen. Believe me, man. It was like that whole week up until release, like, oh, you know, it was like you're just trying to keep off the internet. Like, if you see a glimpse of anything Spider-Man, like a post, you're like, nah, you know, don't want any spoilers. And it was well worth it. It was awesome, and hey, I'm excited to see what the future holds for Spider-Man. But with that, guys, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed. Have you seen it? Were you lucky enough to get tickets? I mean, hey, shout out to my, friend. He was able to get them. And yeah, we were able to see it. And it was a great time. We all enjoyed it. But yeah, definitely go see it. Go see it. It's really great. But as always, guys, I make new videos every Tuesdays and Saturdays. And if you like this kind of content, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good jazz. And as always, you should know by now, I'm Oxy. Take care, everybody.